We got a loop going on there.
I know, we love that.
So happy holidays!
Right.
There's all kinds of holidays that happen.
We are a couple of days into Hanukkah.
We are a couple of days into Hanukkah.
Mazel
I love
tov.
that. Yes, exactly.
Happy Hanukkah.
And the solstice.
Yes, there's this solstice. The 3 days where the sun stands still.
No wonder in ancient times people were so like, is the light ever going to return?
We got to do something, and it's like party like it's at the end of the world, girl. Because it looked like it was.
Yeah, and I mean, really, like in all cultures in ancient times and in all traditions, basically, there's a return to the light, a coming back to the light, a calling forth of the light. So that's where we are right now. And
we're in the some of the darkest in North America. Now,
in North America, of course.
If you're in South, if you're in the South, this is just the opposite.
Oh well, Northern Hemisphere, really.
Yeah, the Northern Hemisphere.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you're celebrating the darkest time of the year,
right? Which
is the primary feminine. And this is the begin. This is why there are. Lots of fabulous births.
Yes.
During this time. In fact, Buddha was awakened on the 7th of December.
Really? Oh, wow.
So the beginning, the turn to the light, the birth of what is new is nothing that's unusual about this time of year, because we're in the womb. We're deep in the womb, deep into the primary aspect of the feminine, in which the creation lies.
I see that. I feel that for myself. I'm birthing a new me coming on in 2015. How about you?
I know. So it's a really good time to set your intentions.
Yeah.
It's a really good time to be contemplative about where we are in the world, what is actually what is germinating kind of right now for you, and to be honest about that. Because there's the doing that comes together with the power that manifests as what you want to create into the world.
Oh, yes.
So what are you going to create into the world? Because the world needs your gifts. And that, the Course in Miracles says, we discover when we remove the blocks to love's awareness.
Love's awareness, yeah. You can't teach what love is, the Course says, but you can open up and see what blocks love's presence and awareness in your life. So
that's kind of the theme of this show. I'm Reverend Glen Morton-Ganaway, Integral Mentor, and we're going to go over the first part. We're going to go over what the instructions for the Course are. The Course actually tells you what it is.
It does.
And it tells you how to read it.
It does.
So in the first half of the show, we're going to be talking about the introduction to the Course in Miracles, and then on the second half of the show, we're going to look at the workbook instructions.
We are, but are you going to introduce me? Who am I?
This is the incredible, most indomitable love of my life, your favorite preacher man in a dress, and the love of my life, the Rev.Yolanda.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say hi, in case we have it. I mean, this may be the first time you're tuning in. You never know.
Right. So there's that's kind of the primary, the aspects that we've been talking about, the primary masculine and the primary feminine, are actually available in each one of us.
Yes,
and we actually put these together in unique ways. I've said it last week, and I'll probably hear me say it many, many, many more times, that we each have a unique fingerprint.
Yes.
We each actually have a unique face.
Yeah.
We each have a unique life, and I believe that we each are a unique combination of the masculine and feminine energies. We experience them as masculine and feminine as human beings, and we each have a unique sexuality and a unique expression
of gender.
Right.
And so, just to clarify for folks that, may be confused or even a little button pushed by my presence, that is what I am about. Celebrating both the masculine and the feminine in one place, in one body. I consider myself a transcendent gender person.
So you're trans?
I'm trans, but in the sense that I don't wish to have surgery to change my body in any way. I am very comfortable with embodying both the masculine and the feminine in this birth body that was given to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very happy with that. I usually say that where the divine masculine meets the divine feminine in the arms of love is what I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, just a brief little explanation, nothing to be afraid of.
Well, because if the Course lets us, what the Course never does is tell you how to be,
That's
or
right.
specific actions to take.
There's no dogma.
Right, there's no dogma. And that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy the Course. So let's start with the instructions and talk about, actually, it's a really good place to start, like what is real.
Yeah, sounds good.
So that's kind of where the Course starts. So let's take a look.
All
if
right.
you've got your course book with you.
Show them the book.
All right, well, sure.
See?
This is the book that we deal with. It's called
There we go.
Course in Miracles, and it's the 3rd edition. And this is the edition I'm going to be reading from.
Beautiful.
And there are lots of editions.
There's even one called the Sparkle Edition.
Oh, it is. And there's the text, which is the unedited, channeled version, and there's some people who follow that.
Right.
And this one is comes from the Foundation for Inner Peace, and they used to be in New York.
Yeah.
And they moved to California with Ken Wapnick.
Right, and just a very brief history of A Course in Miracles. The woman that it was channeled through, her name is Dr. Helen Schuckman. She's not with us anymore, but she was a psychologist at at Columbia University, and she began hearing these transmissions. And she began to call them the voice of Jesus. And she interacted with a person in her department, Bill Thetford.
Her best friend.
Her best friend. And they were having a lot of personal conflict between themselves and with other people in the department. And the voice kept telling her there's a different way of looking at this. And she began to receive these transmissions, and she thought she was crazy, but she began to talk to Bill about them, and he wrote everything down with her. And
she did it all in shorthand, and then she would give the shorthand to him, and he would write it out.
Write it out. So this is how it originated. So a Jewish psychologist
took dictation
from Jesus.
Or the voice she called Jesus.
The voice she called Jesus. And this is what we have. And it's really, really quite beautiful. And so anyway, a very brief introduction to exactly who wrote it.
And what's interesting is after the Course was in its regular form, Jesus said that he wanted to give her an introduction. So these pieces were actually wrote after the book was complete, after the lessons were complete, and after all 31 chapters were complete. She wrote the introduction and the workbook instructions that we're going to look at in the second half hour.
Good.
But the introduction is very, very short.
Here we go.
Okay, and it says, and we're going to go over this a little bit. Not quite line by line, but we're going to go over it because it's really very important, and you will hear us refer to these ideas a lot throughout the year. So this is why we start with, what is A Course in Miracles? And if anybody ever asks you, you could tell them this. This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The Course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance.
Yes.
The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, and herein lies the peace of God.
Yeah, namaste.
We say that a lot. It's
We do.
We say that a lot because it's a very, very good reminder.
It is.
What the course is actually trying to do. The introduction is, I guess, technically 2 paragraphs long, but it's about 8 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it packs a wallop. Nothing. Listen to that. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
right.
Nothing real can be threatened. So if somebody, if you're having an argument with somebody or whatever, like you can.
What are you afraid of?
Yeah, right. You can back off. I mean, like
examining what you're afraid of.
Yes, exactly.
Will lead you to the truth of where the answer lies to your peace.
Mm-hmm. Is it time for a song?
Almost. Let's.
Okay.
That was a special cue.
That was a good cue.
There was a special song for you.
We've got some
today.
really good songs today.
Okay, so when she refers to the Course in Miracles, this is a Course in Miracles. So it's really your whole life,
right?
And whether it's this Course in Miracles or the miracles that you're involved in your everyday life,
right?
This is a Course in Miracles. Your life on this planet
is a
this
Course in Miracles.
Living, your experience of reality, your very essence and the way that you are expand love into form, which is kind of the human existence, the human thing. Mm-hmm. What you're doing, what I'm doing, what we're doing is living a Course in Miracles, finding out that there are miracles around us all the time.
Amen.
Because one of the things, and another thing you'll get to hear us say is that miracles defined. There are 50 things, the 50 ways that she describes what miracles are, and she describes them as natural, and that when they aren't happening, something's gone horribly wrong. Doesn't quite say it like that, but it means something's gone wrong.
Right.
If you're not in the flow of what's happening, and if you've ever been in the flow, I don't know if maybe you're an athlete, or maybe you're a musician, or maybe when you've been reading a book or involved in a project that you're really passionate about, things just sort of happen. Yeah. The right people fall out of the sky. Mm-hmm. People call you up on the phone at the exact moment that you need. Yeah. A project comes together. Just like things happen that you just cannot possibly predict when you're in the flow, when you're in God's will. Yeah. See, and that's what she's talking about here is the Course in Miracles. Yeah. It's like miracles are supposed to be happening all the time.
Yeah.
So if they're happening, so when they're not happening, that means
something's not quite right.
I know.
But I mean, I think a lot of that too is our perception of what a miracle is. I mean, we've been inundated to think that,
it's water into wine.
Yeah, turning water into wine, or walking on water, or raising people from the dead.
Right.
And all of those things, I believe, can certainly happen. But and have,
still happens.
Still happens. Yeah, definitely. And we concentrate so much on those big, huge things that we forget about the miracles of everyday life. I mean, just the interaction with each other that is a miracle,
right.
In the big city that we live in. Just getting on the subway and getting to where you want to go is like an incredible miracle. How many people did it take to create that experience for you?
Especially when the things are running really well.
Yeah.
And you run out of the door late, and you're going, I'm gonna be late. I'm gonna be late. And then you walk down into the subway. You get the train arrives. You make your connection by just walking across the platform, and you sit down on the train, and they go, because of traffic ahead, we're going to go express to your stop.
It's a miracle.
It happens.
Well, I mean, and so I like to really look at my everyday events, everyday circumstances as miracles, and that way I see the good in what's going on.
So the next part is it says you can't choose the curriculum, but you can choose how long it takes.
Oh yeah.
Right, we're all learning the same lessons, but we're not all learning them at the same
time.
At the same time, at the same rate. Like maybe your lessons about family relationships in this lifetime or in this section of your life. Maybe the lessons that you need is about self-love. Maybe the lessons that you're learning is about how to execute your passion. How to put your life together. Maybe it's working with others, or maybe it's learning to meditate, or we're all learning those ways of being exquisitely human.
Yeah. I like that. Exquisitely human.
Making, these divine expressions of the oneness all they can possibly be. They call that human development, but it really is kind of a conscious evolution. The way that the world and the way that you and I evolve is going to be slightly different. But we're all only ever moving toward a greater and greater expression of love. Greater and greater expression of peace.
Yes.
A greater expression of joy. And what my expression of joy is, and what Yolanda's expression of joy is, are going to be different. And what your expression of joy is going to be different. But they don't conflict.
Right.
I don't need to get rid of your joy in order to experience my joy.
Amen. Wow. Let's really breathe that in, I mean, you can have your joy and it's not a threat to me, right? And so I want you to live a joyful life and do what makes you happy, because that creates a happier world for all of us.
Yeah. And this happier world is available to us at all times, like that, like being in the flow.
Right.
Okay, it's already always here. Jesus said in the New Testament, I think it was John, I'm not quite sure. It goes, "Heaven is here and you don't see it."
Oh yeah. Yes,
So if it was true then, it's probably true now. Heaven is here, and we just don't see it. We don't see it because we haven't actually come into the awareness of the blocks to what we're placing in front of it.
Right.
Because love is here, and love isn't putting up obstacles to its own self or its own availability to be experienced. Love certainly isn't doing that.
Right.
Going, you have, because one of a friend way back in my college days said, described the Jesus of his upbringing, and we were dancing and we were clubbing at the time, and it goes, "Oh, I know. I grew up with thinking. I realize now, thinking about Jesus as the bouncer in a really good club."
You, but not you.
I know.
You, but
Who
not
stands
you.
out in front of the club and goes, "I like the way you're dressed. You can come in. I know you. You can come in," and everything like that. It's like Jesus as the bouncer to a really good club, and I've never forgotten that.
I don't think so. Yeah, I was like.
So love isn't doing that. Love isn't like this bouncer to the experience of joy and truth and beauty and wholeness. Love isn't Love isn't saying, "I know you and you're dressed a certain way," or these are the conditions.
Yeah.
What that stuff that we do,
right? Exactly.
Accepting who we are, accepting what it is ours to do in the world brings about that love and that joy. I resisted the calling and resisted the path that God has for me until I was in my late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah.
Really resisted that call, and it was frightening to answer that call. But my life got so much more joyous very, very quickly. I turned a corner down this path, and my life has just opened up. I've got a real sense of underlying my ground of being is joy and acceptance when I answered the call to Spirit. Now, for the call to Spirit might be to join a knitting club, or learn how to ride horses,
or be a mom,
or bake, or whatever that is.
Be a great parent.
And be a great parent. We need great parents and mothers.
Yes, we do.
And mothers and fathers.
Yeah.
So, and teachers. So, it isn't the form that it takes, but it is its expression as authenticity that makes are available to experience love and joy. So love can't be taught, but removing the blocks of love's awareness, which is love, is your inheritance. You're going to inherit the kingdom of God. You're going to get love eventually, because eventually you're going to give up.
You're going to give up your ways of the ego. You're
going to give up, and love's going to be there. If you work at seeing what's blocking you from it, you might have an easier experience of it.
Agree.
So it says, and we're going to play that song here. Okay. Nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. So that is where the blocks come in. So that's what the Course in Miracles is all about, removing the blocks awareness. And the way you do that is by realizing and practicing what is real, and letting go and be able to recognize what is not real. Your opinion isn't real.
Right. I like my opinions, but they're not real.
No, because
they're my opinions.
Things that are real don't change.
Right.
God isn't changing. We're changing and growing and developing, but God isn't changing. So we can rely on that. What is true and knowledge, beauty, those things do not change, and we can recognize them because they don't change. We recognize them in the different forms that they appear because beauty actually doesn't change. Our awareness of it changes.
Yeah.
You know, our ability to see it changes. But beauty, truth, knowledge, peace, joy, those things do not change.
Yeah, I know.
But we change. So, how about that song?
I love this song. Okay, our first song today is a cover of a tune that Dolly Parton did on her album Little Sparrow, and I've been singing it a lot lately, and I think it's really appropriate for the season. So I'm going to put my guitar up over my wig. And I'm going to step back a little bit because
I'm going to step back a little bit
because I sing pretty loud. Okay, here we go. Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to go and tell me what will I find. What will I find? Yeah. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine down. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine. Love is in the water, love is in the air. Show me where to go and tell me will love be there. Will love be there? Yeah. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine down. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine down. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine down. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine. Teach me how to speak, teach me how to share. Show me where to go and tell me will love be there. Will love be there? Yeah. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine down. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine down. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine down. Whoa, whoa, heaven let your light shine. Shine, shine, shine. This little light of mine, don't let it shine. Let it shine, shine, shine. Let it shine, shine, shine. Whee!
Letting your light shine. Letting your light shine,
y'all.
Letting your light shine.
Yes.
I know.
Love that song. I just love that song.
I know. I think it was like originally like Metallica or something.
Yeah, it
like
was
that.
a heavy metal song, and then Dolly covered it on her Little Sparrow album and turned it to a bluegrass song. And I was like, oh my God, that's so fabulous! And then I took it, y'all. I went to audition for America's Got Talent, and I sang that song, and they loved it. So we're waiting to hear from America's Got Talent. Put out some good vibes for me.
Right, because we're doing this together.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a lot of reason why there's a lot of folks out here going, let your light shine.
Let your light shine.
Be all you can be.
Exactly.
Just do it.
Yep. There's a lot.
Why are all these messages? What these messages?
A lot of energy around really evolving and changing, and so much really is happening. So much really is changing in the world. It's so the movement toward love and acceptance is growing. It really is.
And it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, what was King said that the earth leans toward justice.
Yes.
You know, history leans toward justice.
Yes, yes. And I truly believe that. See that happening. And I'm very glad to be on this path with you. You know?
So I've learned to, and continue to learn, to remove the blocks to love's awareness.
Yeah, and that's a miracle.
You know, and it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Because the culture that we live in doesn't support the idea that you're already okay.
Right.
You know, the culture supports the idea that you need to add something to yourself, that we should buy something, that we should...
well, it's mostly about
buying something. I'm trying to think of another way of saying something about buying something.
Well, you're less than if you don't have this product or this boyfriend or these six-pack abs
meaning,
or like whatever.
That's what I'm trying to get across. With we're sold an idea that objects have inherent meaning,
right?
And so
which is where the course workbook lessons start. They start with, giving you an exercise of looking at everything around you and saying this has no meaning. And that's upsetting to people at first a lot of times because, the idea...
You're surrounded with precious objects.
Yeah, we're surrounded with precious objects that we have given meaning to. And that's the point of this exercise, is to separate the understanding that objects' form itself does not have inherent meaning. Even our bodies do not have inherent meaning. It's the meaning that we assign to the objects, to the form, that makes them so valuable or whatever.
Right. So there's the ability for you to be sexy is not in a tube of toothpaste.
Nope, it's in my sparkly tiara.
I know. Royalty doesn't come in a tiara.
Oh, Lordy. That's funny. Oh, goodness.
If we knew who we were, we wouldn't be tempted to believe those ideas.
Yeah.
So who you are is a thought. The Course says you are a thought in the mind of God.
Which leads me to direct you to my website, because I just created a video about this very lesson. And it's called You Are an Idea, and I'd really love for you to see it. Last Christmas, last holiday season, Glen and I went to my hometown in Alabama to visit my mother, and my father had been passed for many, many years, and it has always been my desire to go to my father's graveside dressed, fully expressed as who I am, and have an experience of meditating and singing at my father's grave. And so we did, and Glen videoed that. And we set it to music to my song called You Are an Idea, which is this very lesson. And I'd love for you to go see it. It's at www.yolanda.net. Yolanda has a YouTube channel too. Yeah, you can see that. But because you brought that up, I really wanted to put it out there that I think you would enjoy seeing it, because it really talks about... Every tree and bug and bee and plant is made of love. Every creature in the sea and birds that fly above are a divine idea, just like you and me, a divine idea in the mind of God.
So what we are is an expression of that divine idea. As body. What these bodies are is an expression
of that divine idea.
And they don't rise to the level of reality.
Right.
Because they have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yes.
Beginning, middle, end. If something can be born, it can die. If something can be created, or something can be made, the Course says, if something can be made, it decays. It has a shelf life. So realizing that, actually, the Buddhists do a really, really good job of that.
Yes, they do, which is really thankful for.
So we're going to take a look at moving us through A Course in Miracles in a year. But you can do it through you can do it with us. through A Course in Miracles, and we'll be looking. We'll be doing about an hour here every other Saturday, and we'll take a look at the previous 2 weeks, and we'll talk about what happened and kind of the ways in which we're moving forward. I'll take some major themes and move them forward for us. We'll go along with the lessons, and we're going to read the course.
Yeah, read the text.
I want to say again, and you'll hear me say it over and over and over again, is you can read the Course of Miracles in a year if you will read 12.8 pages a week.
Yes.
That's about 2 pages a day.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the course is divided into 3 sections. This book is divided into 3 sections. There we go. So what he's talking about is called the text, and you can read the text, which is, I don't know, 600 pages, in 12.8 pages a week. And if you'd like to join us with the daily lessons, we start on January 1st with lesson number 1, and there are 365 lessons, and we go through them every day. So we'll be reviewing with you on live stream the text for those 2 weeks, that we haven't seen each other, and also the lessons. So, but if you want to join us on January 1st, we'll be doing lesson number 1. So do lesson number 1, 2, 3, January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, all the way through, and you'll be right with us, and we'd love to chat with you about it.
Just do 1 a day. Do the best you can.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just let it wash over you.
Just
and
read it at least. Read it at least once a day.
Yeah.
And try to execute what it's trying to do. Just try.
Just give it a try.
There's no perfect. We've been doing it several years, and it changes for us every year.
Every year we learn something new. It's really amazing.
Almost every day you learn something new.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. So we are to take a look at this. The course. The second the part we've been reading is the preface to the text.
All right.
Okay? And now we're going to be looking at the workbook for students. Okay?
Very nice.
And that's what
that's what I was talking about.
What she calls the lessons. Okay? Yeah. There's also in this book the manual for teachers, which if you don't want to read the course because we're going to be going the text. One of the main ways that folks find an entrance to A Course in Miracles is to go directly for the manual for teachers. Now, it's counterintuitive because you're going, oh no, I'm going to look at the manual. I don't want to look at the teacher's manual. Oh my gosh, the teacher's manual? How boring is the teacher's manual?
The Cliff Notes.
I know the Cliff. But really, the teacher's manual is done in an old school style, very old school, where Helen asked a question and Jesus gave an answer.
Yeah, that's very cool.
What's the body, and what's a miracle, and do I need, what about faith, and all those kind of things that what's about death, and she asked very, very, very simple, straightforward questions, and her higher self, Jesus, whatever you want to, however you speak, however you think about channeling, answered them. So, if you'd like a soft kind of entrance to the kind of the thought system in A Course in Miracles, I would suggest reading the manual for teachers. It might just be the way.
It's very good.
Yeah, that you get it.
Easy to read.
It's a little bit easier to read than the text itself.
The text can be a little challenging, but if you like Old English, if you like Shakespeare, and
you like
the King James version of the Bible, then you'll have no problems. Yeah.
You'll love it. You'll love it. The syntax and the grammar in the text gets very King James at times. So, but also you might want to take a look at the section called the clarification of terms, where she goes over, so you can look up an idea like forgiveness or the atonement or salvation. You can look up a specific idea and see what the Course has to say about it.
Right.
And what I've found is that the Course in Miracles does not conflict with any kind of with any kind of mystical path, any kind of non-dual path. There isn't an orthodoxy here.
Right.
One of the things that I love about A Course in Miracles is that it is, and I've said this before as well, I think that this is the best non-dual pointer system, the best pointer for non-dual awareness in the Western canon. We're swimming in this in this culture, in Western culture, in Judeo-Christian Islamic, zeitgeist. We are just absolutely swimming in it.
Right.
We think we know what ideas like salvation are, and atonement, and forgiveness. We use these terms all the time.
Yeah.
And especially in this time of Christmas, we often think that we know even what Christmas is about.
Right.
But we talked about that a little bit earlier. So what is really what the Course of Miracles does is kind of, for me, has unpacked my understanding and made available to me a lot of different paths.
Yeah.
It made available to me how beautiful Catholicism is.
Yes, absolutely.
And what the service is about, and what the liturgy is for, how monasteries came into existence. I've been just fascinated. I've done a lot of reading, actually, and made Buddhism really a beautiful, simple path. Made the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. It's like, oh, I understand those concepts now because someone told me to them in a way that was like relevant to my world. I already had these ideas. So actually, Course of Miracles might be a way for you to understand your path even better, maybe open up your understanding of what your chosen path is. Even if you don't choose to do A Course in Miracles, these ideas will help you. As they've helped me.
They're common in all mystical traditions. In each, certainly in the Children of the Book, the Judaism and Christianity and Islam. There's a mystic tradition in each one of those faiths, and that's what A Course in Miracles is, and it coexists
with all of those mystery traditions.
Yes, so it's very interesting. I think you'll really get a kick out of it.
Well, all right. So this is,
and while you're reading, I'm going to just grab my guitar because I want to sing. I want to sing another little song with you guys. But I'm just going to pick on my guitar while you're reading.
Okay. So, on page 2 of the introduction to the workbook for students, in which there are 300, it's loaded into 365 days for you to look at. There are 4 reviews, 6. I'm sorry. There are 6 reviews. And we go. The first half of the year is really about a push, about understanding. It has a pushing motion. Have you ever discovered or ran away from something? Discovered something that you wanted not to happen? Have you ever ran away from anything, or tried to make your actions based on something not a negative, making something not happen? That's kind of the way the first half of the book is organized. It kind of pushes us away from the ego. It kind of pushes us away from destructive habits. It helps us to discover ways in which we are perpetuating our own suffering. So that's the first half of the book, and there are about 100 lessons. It takes about 25 weeks to do the first 150 lessons, because there's so many reviews as she puts these in different ideas and restructures them. So in the beginning you have the first 50 lessons. Well, before I do that, let's read the instructions on how the course, how these 365 lessons are to go. All right? It says, the overall aim of the exercises is to increase your ability to extend the ideas you will be practicing to include everything. This will require no effort on your part. The exercises themselves meet the conditions necessary for this kind of transfer. Some of the ideas the workbook presents you will find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. This does not matter. You are merely asked to apply the ideas that you are directed to do. You are not asked to judge them at all. You are asked only to use them. It is their use that will give them meaning and will show you that they are true. Remember only this: you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept them, and you need not even welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter or decrease their efficacy, but do not allow yourself to make exceptions in applying the ideas the workbook contains. And whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them.
Use them. Use them. Use them.
Nothing more than that is required.
Let's sing Miracles right now, because it follows really well with that. And one of the first things that the text does is describe what a miracle is. So I'm going to, this is a little chant that I wrote, and I would love for you to sing along. All right?
It's really easy.
Here we go. Miracles are seen in the light, and the light is my strength. Miracles are seen in the light, and the light is my strength. Got it? Sing it with us. Here we go. Miracles are seen in the light, and the light is my strength. Miracles are seen in the light, and the light is my strength. Miracles are seen in the light, and the light is my strength. Miracles are seen in the light, and the light